Next question is from Fozzie Am. Is there a way to grow shoulders and back without the traps getting too big? Do deadlifts make traps bigger?
Okay, let's talk about deadlifts first. Deadlifts build the entire back. Most of the trap development, though, you'll get from deadlifts is not the upper. So I'm assuming this person's afraid of developing upper traps, like because your traps have different attachments and the muscle fibers point in different directions.
No neck look. Huh?
Yeah, so you could develop the upper traps, which actually shrug the shoulders.
Which you're getting from probably the holding process.
Yeah, but when you deadlift, a lot of the development's in that mid-trap area. That's where you're going to see most of the development. So can they build the upper traps? I guess if you have really good genetics for traps, and maybe, but it's more of that mid kind of trap area that you'll see near the rhomboids.
These are annoying questions to me.
This is definitely annoying, but to me, this is actually the reason I picked it. Right?
A lot of women ask this question.
Right.
Well, yeah, it does.
And it's very bodybuilder-esque. And here's another example of because I know for a long time we pick on machines a lot, but here's where sometimes using machines have their value when I'm trying to isolate a part of the shoulder or take out something. The traps are a stabilizer muscle of the shoulder, so there's no way around it not working. But I'll tell you, doing something slow, controlled, and with isometric contractions, right, and with a light weight is less likely to develop the traps than something that is done with speed or power or heavy loaded.
Yeah.
You're going to do something like that. Those traps are going to have to stabilize that heavy load, especially on free weights, compared to maybe doing something like a reverse fly on a cable machine or a shoulder press on a machine. There's certain ways that you can do that.
It's funny. People are like, oh, overhead presses will develop the traps like crazy. I've seen more trap activation in laterals from people who do them wrong than overhead presses.
Sure.
Laterals, first off, if you do them right, you don't really, the traps stabilize a little bit, but it's all delts. But you see people do laterals.
Yeah, heavy laterals are definitely going to get
it's funny. Today I was working out with Justin. Him and I were doing laterals at the same time. Yeah. He was doing upper back trap laterals. I was doing side delt laterals. Bodybuilder versus obviously athlete.
Right.
And it's very different.
I was noticing that too. I'm like, I'm doing these totally different.
Yeah, and one isn't wrong or the other. They're just different, right? But if you want just shoulder development, it's keep your shoulders kind of depressed, lean forward a little bit. It's all here with the hand facing down. You want more trap development. It's gonna be a little bit more movement, a little bit more external rotation, squeezing the upper back a little bit. So laterals, in my opinion, are more responsible for this than anything else because a lot of people will do laterals the way you do, Justin, because it allows you to move more weight. They're not necessarily athletes. They want to develop the shoulders. It's like, why
doesn't this just boil down to more focus on mind-muscle connection?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if you just want to, if this is a serious goal of yours, is to really just hyper-connect to, deltoids and really just make sure that you do it very slow, controlled, and with lighter weight.
Yeah, don't shrug the shoulders.
That's my point of the machines, right? So ideally you have the ability, right? You've worked on the mind muscle connection that you can use free weights and still be able to do what the point Sal's making right now. But a good way to regress that to kind of get to that place is to use machines to kind of help until you get really good at knowing how to isolate parts of the muscle. Even though it's impossible to completely isolate a part of a muscle, you definitely can do.
You can redirect so you have more force.
You can definitely do a shoulder press or a lateral raise or a rear fly with very little trap involvement or a lot of trap involvement. And what really makes a difference is your ability to connect to what part of the shoulder you're really targeting and think about that as you're moving through it and avoid the, erratic, heavy kind of movement during a specific movement that you're trying to target a part of the shoulder.
I mean, rows, if you don't shrug your shoulders, you depress the scapula, bring them down, and back, you're not going to use tons of upper trap muscles. If you shrug their shoulders while you row, which some people do, then you're going to get more trap development. Obviously, pull-ups, pull-downs, almost no upper trap activation because the weight's coming down. But I don't think you should just stick to that. I've had female clients or trainers even say, all I do are pull-downs for my back to avoid building my upper traps, and they end up developing really bad forward shoulder because they don't strengthen those mid-back muscles very well, and they end up with this not good look anyway. So, I mean, avoid shrugging, avoid explosive movements, and train your shoulders and back like a bodybuilder, where it's mind and muscle. Don't train like an athlete, because if you do explosive athletic type movements, you're going to involve the traps quite a bit. This is why some athletes is that you football players, I don't think they ever do shrugs, but you see lots of cleans and explosive movements, and they got incredible, trap development.
Hey, if you enjoyed that clip, you can find the full episode here, or you can find other clips over here. And be sure to subscribe.